Madam Chancellor, exceptional leaders make things happen, especially in challenging circumstances. They care deeply about people and community. Exceptional leaders are also visionaries, strategists, motivators, organizers, and managers. Today, I present to you one such remarkable leader. You know, political leadership is difficult under any circumstances, as many people here know. In First Nations, it is extraordinarily difficult. Resources are scarce, social and economic conditions generally poor, and the hopes of the people and the demands of the people are pressing and urgent. Kim Baird has lived the life and walked the walk of an extraordinary First Nations political leader. Fiercely determined, deeply committed to social justice, she has relentlessly pursued her dream of a prosperous, self-governing Tsawwassen First Nation, free of the shackles of the Indian Act and the reserve system. The result today is there for all of us to see. The Tsawwassen First Nation is going where no First Nation has gone before, and it is succeeding. She started this journey 22 years ago, first as her First Nations treaty researcher, and then as director of treaty negotiations. In 1999, at the young age of 28, she was elected chief, a position she held for 13 years. Her accomplishments in that position are breathtaking. Largely as a result of her sheer determination, personal charm, and obvious intelligence, the Tsawwassen First Nation treaty negotiations are recognized as a model for effective negotiations. It was a long, hard, and often discouraging process, requiring focus, toughness, and determination on the part of the First Nation. When others thought all was lost, Kim remained relentlessly determined to find a way. Today, with its treaty in place, the Tsawwassen First Nation is well on its road to prosperity, self-sufficiency, and modern self-government. There are more jobs than people to fill them, hundreds of millions of investment dollars are pouring in, and a modern, efficient government is in place and working. Kim is a much sought-after inspirational speaker. She's incredibly generous with her time and serves on many boards, including British Columbia Hydro and Metro Vancouver. She makes herself available to any and all First Nations seeking advice and help. Kim is also the hardworking and dedicated mother of 3 young girls: Amy, age 8, Sophie, age 5, and Naomi, age 3, who are here with us this afternoon. These 3 beautiful, bright, and happy girls, often present in the negotiating room when they were babies, always come first in Kim's life. Kim Baird is a true inspiration to leaders everywhere. She does it all, and she does it so well. Kim Baird's ancestral name is Quintiltunat. The name is based on her great-grandfather's name, Quintilim. Madam Chancellor, I ask you, on behalf of the Senate of this university, that you now confer upon Quintiltunat the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Kim Baird, by virtue of the authority vested in me and in the Senate of this university, I hereby admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Dr. Baird will be hooded by Dr. John Driver, our Vice President Academic, and Dr. Kate Ross, Registrar. Here comes your hood.
Go, Doctor. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tommy.
It is with great pleasure that I now call on Dr. Kim Baird for her convocation address. Dr. Baird.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to acknowledge my Coast Salish relatives on whose territory we gather. You now know, as a result of my kind and generous introduction, that my name is Quintiel Tanat, or Kim Baird. I'm the former chief of Tsawwassen First Nation, a self-governing treaty First Nation of just under 500 members, not very far from here. It's my deepest honor and pleasure to congratulate all those who are graduating in this ceremony this afternoon. And I have a call of action for you as you begin your next journey, carrying the tools you have gained from this institution. In my community this summer, 2 teenage girls, members of my nation, disclosed that they had been abused by family members. These disclosures represent the complexities of what my community is going through, where the impacts of colonization and residential school have led to multi-generational problems of violence, dependency, and other social problems. In my mind, what is more compelling about this story is the fact that these disclosures are starting to come out. The violence that has been occurring behind closed doors in many of our homes was so common that it had become normalized behavior, and something no one hardly ever talked about, yet everyone knew things like this were happening. And why are they coming out now? It's because we've created a space where we can begin to address these issues. Reconciliation is not only happening between my community and governments, or even with society at large, but it's also begun within my community. We are transforming. These young girls know what happened to them is wrong, and they rightfully expect something to be done about it. I shudder to think that had we not acted to do so, these tragedies may still be behind closed doors, and there would be no chance to break the cycle. When I was about many of your age in the grad class, I learned about the story of First Nations people, about residential schools, about land preemption, the Indian Act, colonialism, disenfranchisement, and the works. And it explained a lot to me. It told me why my community is the way it is and why these tragic events happen all too often for First Nations people. I learned that this is a wrong of the very worst kind. And with that knowledge came the responsibility to act. I had to believe there is a way out of this terrible poverty and these continued cycles of abuse. And so I acted. I became a leader in my community. I started our treaty process and became elected chief. I now stand before you having negotiated the first urban treaty in British Columbia, one that took 16 years and every ounce of my energy, well, except for the ounces I had to find to raise my kids. And I stand before you knowing I did the right thing. And the odds were stacked against me to be standing with you at all, let alone to be standing in front of you. The dice were loaded in favor of me being another sad First Nation statistic. I grew up in the typical First Nation story: domestic violence, alcohol abuse, poverty, and a transient lifestyle were a part of my story, as for so many of my people. And I'm with you today because I found the strength to break that cycle, and for that, I'm so grateful. I was able to make real, structural, and substantive changes for current and future generations of my community. I'm grateful that I was able to turn my anger, cynicism, and despair as a teenager into action. I feel blessed that my efforts bore real fruit, and I should note that they only bore fruit because of all the many people who came to help me, many of them family and friends and colleagues who are here today, right now, still supporting me. And I'm sharing these stories with you, both my community story and part of my personal story, because I want to highlight that no matter what walk of life you come from, you can act. I know you have chosen fields that do serve our society, but I really challenge you to stretch yourselves into contributing into this world. You possess skills you've learned during your time here, and your potential is limitless. When you come across things that are wrong, or when something you learn shocks you deeply, I feel you have a duty and responsibility to act. You are equipped to make positive change. Do not underestimate the value of this great benefit you've received. Many, including myself, have not had the same opportunity, but with this benefit comes significant responsibility to act when you see wrong, to stand up and do something. I believe we all have a duty and an obligation to serve our communities. Education is a blessing that each and every one of us has received, and it's now your turn to share this blessing with others. Go out and use these skills and contribute to building our civic society. Find your passion and lead. There are many challenges our society faces, from the third world conditions on reserves to our loss of belief in our government institutions or the environment as some examples. With all these things, we can't just sit back and wait for someone else to fix them. It doesn't work like that. When we have the knowledge of what needs to be done, we have the responsibility to step up, and you are also equipped to contribute to our world and our children's future in such meaningful ways. I can't wait to see what you will collectively achieve. Hajka, Haisapka.